Hello guys, welcome to another video of my channel, Esoteric Cloud Surfer. In this channel we create and we take rides in esoteric clouds, which are lighter, less dense, and vibing on a higher frequency, vehicles, spaceships, clouds that our spirit can go into and then float to higher realms of existence, right? So this video is an important video, right? It's like a very interesting topic in my opinion, and I'm going to do a little disclaimer. It works on a very subconscious level, so it might be hard to understand with external examples, right, of the everyday life, but they are in the everyday life what I'm about to speak, right? Just drink some smoothie, beautiful smoothie that I just made it with pineapple, with kiwi, with apple, with spinach, and with ooh, with something else that I don't remember. I said pineapple. It is pineapple. Very good. So, I've wrote a little bit, not too big, just to help me pinpoint this message, because as I said to you, it is a bit more on the subconscious level. But the title is going to be The Bark or the Ark, right? Essentially, what I'm talking about is like another term, a more subconscious term, to define the magic square that the masses are all in at this day and age, and probably from the past 2000 years, right? So, remember, yeah, I think it's a good, I just found a good entering point. The shadow government looks at the masses as dumb, deaf, as not being blind people, right? As sheep. The shadow government, those who see themselves as higher, because they are not, they see themselves as higher, and people, the masses, accept that vision of their own, of the shadow government that they have about themselves. And they look down on the masses. They think they need to be taken care of. The shadow government think that the masses cannot govern themselves. The shadow government think that everybody needs their care, because they use a lot that July energy. Over there in America, if you live in America, you celebrate the 4th of July, which is in July, which is the Cancer season, which is the area of the sky where Jupiter is exalted, right? So it's a lot about care, the health system. You know, the shadow government look down on others, that's my point. They think that the masses need them, alright, in some way, shape and form. So they see them, the masses, as herds of sheep, as groups of sheep, the sheeple, alright? And think about it. How does a shepherd, a real life shepherd, a real sheep shepherd, how does he work with his sheep? Most of them use dogs, right, to help them guide the sheep. And remember, in the Christianity program, there is that phrase that is, the Lord is my shepherd, all right? And last Saturday I was watching a football game that was between two English teams from the Premier League, and because there are no people on the stadium, they have like big messages, and it was on the stadium of West Bromwich Albion, if I'm not mistaken, and they have that in a large big board the Lord is our shepherd. All right, so there is like one big notion of the magic square. The Lord is my shepherd. So the magic square sees the people in it as sheep, and shepherds use dogs to help them in their daily work with their sheep, right? And how does the dog help the shepherd? With the bark. By barking, the dog scares the sheep, herding them to the desired direction, to the direction that the shepherd wants the sheep to go, right? If the place where the sheep sleep is in that way, and they are outside in the field eating some grass over here, and the shepherd wants the sheep to go here to here, right? But sometimes the sheep doesn't give a fuck about what the shepherd is doing. So then the dog comes, goes near the sheep, and it barks from this side. The dog barks, and the sheep go to the desired location. So esoterically, right, from a more lighter perspective, from a more expanded point of view, an esoteric cloud away from the lower animalistic desires, this means that the shadow government, all right, the soul group that is in power right now, uses a frequency, a sound of fear, a frequency and vibration down here in 3D, in the world that we are living in right now. The best representation for it is sound of fear. That's the barking of the dog. The dog barking has these two components, sound and fear. So the shadow government uses a frequency of fear to direct where the masses, aka in the shadow government view, the sheeple, go. The shadow government uses a frequency of fear. And if you are spiritually inclined, if you watch my channel, if you watch more soul group people, you know, even I think the majority of the conscious community, quote unquote woke people, they know that television and so on is meant to keep people on a lower frequency vibration, aka fear. Why? Because fear is the only way that you can make another spirit pay full attention to something, full 100%. All right, and this in spirituality is very important, because if nobody pays attention to the shadow government program, it will never work. So they need a constant flux, Elon flux. Dolo be very smart. Sometimes people don't understand why him joking is that spirituality. Elon flux. And he's being used to gather a flux of attention to their new program. Because before the program launches, before the program is worldwide, it needs to be charged with attention, with ideas, and with feelings from the people who are going to be in the program. Because the shadow government cannot charge those programs. Because the shadow government, the real shadow government, not the puppets who think they are on high ranks, right? They are not in the shadow, they are not in the magic square. So if they charge the programs with their own energy, when the masses go into the program, it will cause friction or disharmony, right? But if the people charge the program, when the spirits of the people go into the program, it's familiar, comfortable, and acceptable. And that's it. The main point, right? That acid from the apple is so good. I'm not remembering that meme of that little girl eating some Doritos. It was like very funny. So, the bark or the ark, right? So then have we now have an understanding of the esoteric meaning, right? Now let's see some external representations, right? Some exoteric meanings. So the bark of the dog, okay, is associated with the Canis Major and the Canis Minor constellations. Canis is Latin for dog. Here in Portugal, the dog's family is the caninos, the canines. Alright? And now I remember, I think there is a group of people in the Bible that are the Canaanites or the Canaanites or something, right? And then there is also a story of people who have dog heads. And it's the canis, the canine, os caninos, right? So that might be a connection. Also, those two constellations are heavily associated with Orion. And if you know Soul Group, if you know Star Wars, real Star Wars, not the movies, because those movies are inspired in real Star Wars, Orion is constantly fucking in diverse ways, sometimes literally fucking the being that we are living in right now. So the bark of the dog is associated with Canis Major, Canis Minor, and the Orion constellations, with Anubis, right, and the cult of the black dog, aka the internal dog, aka the internal direction. This is how the shadow government directs people internally before externally. They direct the ideas and the feelings and the reactions of the masses, so they can later equalize. They make the masses react to something. If the masses react positively, the shadow government brings the negative, hey, you need me. If the masses react negatively, the shadow government brings the positive and says, hey, you need me. So they balance the scales in that way. That's Libra, Saturn exalted in Libra, right? And the cult of Black Dog, shout out to Seven Bomar. He does a great work talking about Orion constellation and the cult of Black Dog. Not just him. I think I heard about the cult of Black Dog in through somebody else. I don't remember now. And then we have the term Ark, the Ark of the Covenant, aka the Magic Square. The term Ark is referred, for an example, in the history of Noah. And this Ark, Noah used this Ark to save animals from the flood. So he saved lower animalistic desires, lower animalistic natures during a flood. aka the flood can be a literal flood of water when a big body of water, aka another planet, aka another star, aka another chakra, comes too close with our own. And when they come too close, they share waters, and the bigger waters influence the small water cycle. So a flood is a period of huge influence and change. And Noah saved old animalistic desires, each one of each gender, male and female, internal and external, by riding the waves of the flood. Esoterically, this means that the ark is a parameter, a certain set of rules, a certain set of virtues, a certain set of principles that a specific group of spirits that share those same sets, aka a soul group, they use that ark, they use those rules, they use those amendments, they use those amendments to create realms of reality, to create vessels for themselves, and then they create other vessels, the slave ships, and the slave ships are used to contain other weaker spirits, and they are weaker because they are alone, do not have a soul group, or because they do not have a strong set of beliefs. They do not have a strong creed. And it's interesting because I was to be in the scouts, scout boy, and it was required us to attend mass every week. And one of the rituals in mass was, here in Portuguese, to say the credo. Creed, it means believing, be alive in something. So the space, the parameter where those spirits live in is not as strong as where the shadow government lives in. They have that written in their hearts, and they use that to create realms of reality and bodies and slave ships to contain weaker spirits that will build the shadow government world. Alright? These spirits are weaker because most times they are alone and don't have a strong arc, aka believe in themselves or for themselves. So the bark and the arc are used to guide and contain the slaves, the spiritual slaves that will build the shadow government worlds. Because this realm is not the first one that the shadow government is doing what it does. It does. They have been around, like Dolo, Archangel Uriel have been chasing them for eons. And this realm, it has only 6,000 years old. When science says the earth is no, I don't know, billions old, they are not talking about this earth, right? They are wrong, right? Then when they say earth, they are talking about the earth element, the earth energy. So the shadow government has been doing this kind of things with the earth element for a very, very long time. And then it connects us, that topic connects to how spirits create realities. First fire, imagination, then water, feeling, then air and earth come out of those two things. And then it fire and water creates something, and then the lighter parts, the denser parts of those things float air, and the heavier parts go down in relativity because they are more dense, right? So then the air and the earth are one thing that came from fire and water. So what they do is they create some fire and some water to attract some spirits. Then the shadow government detaches, because they make other spirits work for this. They detach, they go to the air. There is a movie, Elysium, I think. The Elysium Fields. Bruh, they be telling all of that right into our faces. And in that movie, they lead as a space station, while the masses, the sheep, are living very bad on Earth. Earth, literally. Not Earth as a planet, Earth as an energy, Earth as a way of moving. Earth as an element that deals with stuckness, being fixated, security, safety, structure, being slow, taking too long to change, being persistent. And that movie, the elite is living on a space station, okay, in the air, detached from lower problems. So that's what they do. They create these scenarios. It's not like the world isn't fair. It's not like the system doesn't work well. No, it works very well. And they use the bark of the dog to guide spirits into their arc. The bark scares the weak spirits because they don't believe in themselves. They are not weak because the shadow government is strong. No, the spirits are weak because they don't believe in themselves. Period. Period. A spirit is weak when it doesn't believe in themselves. That's it. So they use the bark of the black dog, the internal, the unknown, the dark, right? Humans, remember, I'm not a human. Soul group are not humans. We are above. We are above humans. We are above Satan, and we are above Lucifer, right? The human spirit is afraid of the unknown. The human spirit is afraid of the new. So they use the black, which is in the dark. That means that spirit has not created a spaceship to see. That spirit has not created a light yet, so he can see. He's scared. It can make sense out of anything. It doesn't have a purpose. It doesn't have a desire. It's scared. They use that bark, that frequency and vibration of fear, to guide the spirits into an arc, a magic square, where the spirit cannot leave the square. The spirit tries to go here, oh, fear, it comes back. The spirit tries to live here, oh, it cannot. The spirit tries to exit from here, it cannot, because the square is a set of rules, principles, and virtues that the spirit in it believes in, be alive in, because he was afraid of the bark of the black dog. And that's how the shadow government they herd spirits to their magic square. That's how they attract and trap. Okay? So, this is it. I hope I explained this well. I hope you can resonate with this message. So, yeah, the bark, it's a frequency of fear. The ark is the container for the weak spirits to work in and to build the world for the shadow government to have fun, to enjoy themselves. So the shadow government, the spirits of the shadow government, can enjoy themselves without worrying about what the masses worry. Because the worry of the masses, the fear of the masses, is the base, is the infrastructure. That's why the shadow government shit starts on Capricorn, starts on the 10th house, infrastructure, and then the shadow government lives at the top of that infrastructure. But they have created that system of up and down. Then the people just come in, right? So that's it, that's all. The bark of the black dog and the ark of the covenant. The ark is the container, it's the set of rules that keeps spirits from going away. But you can go away wherever you want, whenever you want. The shadow government just makes you think other way around. And then they change the aspect of the arc, because if they didn't do so, because energy and everything is changing, the spirits inside of the ark will notice, wait, haven't we been doing this for a very, very long time? And I'm still suffering, I'm still in hell. Why I'm still in this space? Let me get out. So by them updating, by them changing the aspect of the ark, the spirits inside the ark think they're going into a new space, but they're still inside of the ark. They're still inside of the limits and boundaries that keeps them away from their true power, and that's the magic square. So, until the next Esoteric Cloud Surfer, I'ma be out, being an individual. Shout out to Daria, beautiful smoothie. Shout out to Dolo the Pilot Man, Archangel Uriel. Shout out to all of the Soul Group members. Shout out to everyone that is working on themselves and expanding their own spirit. Until the next time, be an individual, believe in yourself. We are changing the world right now. Their shit is falling. We don't need to destroy it. We just need to make sure that we build a great, great construction for us to be in. So until the next time, Esoteric Cloud Surfer, surfing out. Stay well. Love y'all.